Okay, and then we want to do shared screen. And then I'll try to watch and make fun. I'm going to maybe do yeah. That's what I was worried about. Or before marketing. I feel like that would be nice to be right. It's all about community, right? Okay, so then we want slideshow. Kelly Clarkson with Wait Bear, where delivery is yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna plug it.
Do you need oh yeah.
I just know.
When you're going to do stop share when you're done talking, and then we'll have to just
I'll try my
then. Yeah, if not, I can.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
You need to.
Yeah. I know there was another one.
First giveaway on Saturday. First 25 family issue. On the 29th.
So now I'm gonna log into. Yeah, they. Yes.
Oh, okay, stay co-host.
So I can let people in, but I know there's music now. I don't know if you have your.
I do, I am not.
All right, Mark.
Hey, Ryan. How you doing?
Good, you? Long time no see.
Forgot what you look like, but you're
Yeah.
a little bit more tan, so you should be here.
We've been a few places and then we go someplace next week.
Really? Where you going?
We're doing, we're taking all the kids on a cruise.
Cool. Rough life you live there.
Alicia and I were down in the Galapagos. That's where the tan comes from.
Dang, that's awesome.
Fun.
Okay, I'm gonna go back there and see if I can hear.
Okay. That's awesome. How was it down there? How long?
We were there for a week. All cruise ship, like 100%.
No way.
No
way.
It was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, was it, which is, how were the meals? Pretty good?
The cruise ship. Yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah. So that was fine. And then like just the nature walk and stuff. And so we're like sitting right, we're swimming with like sea lions. Sorry. Well,
No way.
you avoided the elephants. I don't know. We had fun with it. So,
You know, I'm like, yo, man. There's some sea lions. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah.
How's everything going for you? How's business?
We got it.
You busy?
Yeah, we're still, we appreciate it.
Want to be?
Yeah. Spring
Hey, stranger.
Hey, hey,
That's new.
not too much.
How are you traveling?
They're still going.
Where's next?
Next week we're on a cruise and that's where the kids. So the kids next. So nothing for a while.
Which is two.
Yeah.
Ecuador. It was fun. It was worth it. It was a long trip, but it was worth it.
How long of a plane ride is it down there?
We flew to Atlanta and it was 6.5 hours from Atlanta. So,
Really?
not 5.5, sorry.
Why? Hey, Tom?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing? Good to see you. Sorry, I missed the same. We had I think pretty much. So I pretty much. I got downtown. Oh. We'll find out. I want to.
Oh, sorry, my leg's so bad. Yeah.
Trying to do some good work every day.
Okay. It's good to see you. Essentially,
I did, but I can, I gotta like just going over here. I didn't think I had time.
I think we're gonna have.
No.
Hey, your feet dying. Have you been on big talk? You got another service. I'm gonna say it. My daughter. I was thinking a little bit of this, like, yeah. Right all along. I never had this awful thing. It's not my favorite thing. But it's all right. It's great. How did you get that? Good. This is so hard. Probably so you recommend it 3 years. I didn't think he's turned out. They don't feed them. I already had a Tacos. Right, go to your phone and they count. That's actually. Yeah, church accounts. You're the one that did. And the count. Get to be bitter. Women are winning. It's half the time. 16 is well. That feeling. It's been such a passion. Not only just share. Really? It's awesome. Oh, maybe they never got it.
Did he tell you this?
Yeah, he-
That we all misunderstood.
Yeah. He just.
Yeah. Like, don't worry about the figuring it out.
All the time.
I heard 1980.
Mother and I were talking about that over the. In our generation, you know. Your generation. They say, what do you, what am I saying? You have to do most of my time, which is actually a very cheap. Our generation. We're not quite used to that. Because you're raised from a family of volunteers as well. It's just.
All right, guys, we'll get this meeting started. My name is Neil Weiser and welcome to Rotary Happy Hours. All right, this meeting is being recorded on Zoom. We do have a YouTube channel, so if you miss a after hours meeting, you can always go on there and watch the recordings. Now, all rise if able, and we'll do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome. Thank you to all our guests and visitors. Due to the time frame, we're not gonna make you all stand up and introduce yourself and give us a little information about you, but if you're a guest, please raise your hand and then other Rotarians can stop in and say hi. Thank you, Brad. Thank you all for joining us. So we got some birthdays today. Aaliyah's was yesterday. So happy birthday, Aaliyah. And then Kiana Lohman is next Tuesday. And then Lori, happy birthday. This is a big month for anniversaries. I think we hit on this last meeting, but you can see here, there's a lot of 15-year anniversaries here. These are the founding members of Rotary After Hours, part of that group. And then you can see there's a lot of other ones tailing off after that. 12 years, Larry, 12 years, Keith, 11 years, Marissa, 10 years, then Dustin, 10 years, and then Jennifer Grants, 1 year. So then this just shows how much of your dedication to the group and to the community. So thank you for your service and your commitment. Is this thing glitching out up there or no? Pretty good. All right. So if you have any announcements tonight, please come up forward. Just being recorded on Zoom. This owl is listening to us. So if you come up, that gives anyone who is online the ability to hear it and anyone who listens to it after. Is it? All right. So we got the service committee update. Jenny, I don't know if you want to stand up and give a little update on this. If not, I can hit it too. It's not an issue. Oh, no, perfect timing.
Thursday the 31st, that was just posted recently, and there's a sent sheet. There's the habitat. Sorry, I'm sorry. Maybe Neil should have done it.
Yeah, so we got a highway cleanup coming on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday here. We're meeting right by Fox Hollow there. It's right across the parking lot. We start there, we'll drop off. I bet it's a 2-mile stretch, something like that. At least that, and we'll split it halfway into groups, walk on each side of the highway, go pick it up. I always love doing it now because this is where all the trash is showing after winter. And then we have an event on the 11th here. So this is Renew the Block with the Habitat for Humanity. So the downtown club set this up, and so this is kind of like an all Rotary thing. So all Rotary clubs are coming together from 9 to 3 p.m. to work with the Habitat for Humanity. I'm sure we'll be doing some cleaning, some painting, all that stuff out there. So bring your work gloves, sign up.
That one's kind of, right.
Yes. We gotta go, there's that downtown, you can also go to downtown's website too, I believe, as well. Just how you go to our website to sign up on the calendar, you can go there downtown as well. Then we got another volunteer event on the next weekend. So it's a Saturday. This is the second half of Megan's Shape for Paws that won our Shark Tank last year. So we're just finishing up a couple things, building a couple benches, walking some dogs, doing some additional stuff on site for that shade structure for the Humane Society.
And there's a link on Facebook and the Club Runner one. If you want to walk dogs, there's a link to the Humane Society to tell us how to do that.
You know, because they moved up pretty far.
Yes, the more and the sooner that you sign up to participate in the event, the better numbers I can get. If there are fewer dogs, then we have people available, then we group off. But working with the Humane Society and being a foster with them, they will have fun be there.
Thank you, Megan.
Possibly might begin our next foster soon, so I'm very excited.
All right, so membership committee, we have a couple up. We do this RAH kudos, so this is our way of celebrating members in our club. Celebrate with the RAH family. Brad, I don't know, can I share?
Yes, you can.
So Brad just got married this past week. Congratulations, Brad. Public image, we just had our orders go through. Marissa, do you know when about the time that would come through?
I was thinking a week or two.
About a week or two. Then youth committee, yeah, that lid's not very good. Do we have our first host?
No,
Anyone for the youth committee? So we're still searching for our first host family.
we are still searching for the first host family. Please share, ask if anybody is even slightly interested, let me know. That way I can speak with them.
And you don't need a Rotarian or part of a Rotary Club to host a foreign
Right.
exchange student too. So if you have friends that are interested in it, they can still do that too as well. When is our foreign exchange student coming? Or when do we?
Sure yet. Late August.
Late August, okay, and we need to have the first family.
Once it's assigned. I have not assigned you one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we are assigned a student, we have 1 month at that moment.
To find that
Our
family.
first family.
Thank you, Phil. Programs and socials. So I'm gonna be handing around this sheet. There's a barcode at the bottom of this to sign up. This is our pints for polio. So everything that we raise during this meeting goes to a polio donation. With Rotary, one of their lead causes, what they started was to eradicate polio. So this, all the money that's raised during this event goes to the polio fund. Now with this, we do trivia, beer tasting, all that stuff. So you can sign up online, $20. And if, say you're on the fence. And the day of, you're like, well, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able, I can't sign up because I'm not exactly sure. And then it opens up the day of, still show up. Pay $20 and join the event, but we'd still like to get people to sign up for that and attend that event. So that's coming up this Friday at the Skeleton Group. Or Lost Island Winery, sorry. And then the very next day, we have Come From Away. And I would love, Dustin, you want to talk a little bit on it, or Joe?
How's it going?
I can say.
All right.
So it is going really well. It's our final weekend of performances. If you don't know the story, how many know the story of Come From Away? Few of you. So it is the 9/11 musical, as I like to put it, just in casual conversation. It's the story of the 38 planes that were diverted when the airspace was closed to Newfoundland. And particularly the town of Gander, this airport that used to be the largest in the world, where prop planes would gas up before going across the Atlantic. But when jet planes were invented, they didn't need it anymore. So it fell out of use until September 11th, 2001. And 38 planes were diverted there. And the town of Gander, a town of 9,000 people, took in about 7,000 people from all around the world. The community came together kind of like Rotary clubs without even being asked to say, like, what do we need to do to put up these people and take care of them? And so each of us, there are 12 of us in the cast, about an hour-and-a-half musical. And each of us play a local Newfoundlander and plane person, as they're called. So you'll see people kind of switching back and forth from their roles and see how their stories evolve that day. And our Rotary night includes Welcome to the Bluffs, this new thing that LCT is doing for this show, where they have a community group come in afterwards and share a little bit about what they're doing, have a drink with the cast and crew, and just kind of enjoy some community fellowship and talk about the experience and community in a way. So hope you can all join us for that. It's one last weekend of it, so we're feeling bittersweet right now. But thank you.
Thank you, Dustin.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea beforehand is trying to set up a dinner. She posted on Facebook, so anybody from the club wants to meet up and have dinner, respond on Facebook. You guys can get dinner there, and then after, once the show is done, hang around and have some drinks. We will be having a booth. Rotary After Hours will be there to just talk about our involvement in the community too and spread the word there. So please stick around to talk about Rotary After Hours, or just hang out afterwards too. So Ugly Sweater 5K was a success. It's kind of in our lull period right now until we start ramping up here. We already registered or reserved the park shelter for next year. So that's on there. And then next, I would like to introduce our main speaker for the night. So this is a gentleman who's well established in our area. He's a father, he's a husband, he's a mentor, he's a cherished member of this community. Please welcome Tom Thibodeau.
so kind. Many of you are looking at me like I just escaped from assisted living. You're not far off. 75 years of age now, and I'm getting an opportunity to talk to people that are 18. The most stupid thing I could ever say to somebody who's 18, oh, when I was your age. You know, when I was your age, gas was 18 cents a gallon. When I was your age, your first mortgage was $12,000. When I was your age, tuition at State University School is $100 a semester. That's when I was your age. What's more important is, what is it like to be 20 in the year 2026? How do you pay attention to the lives of the people that are right around you each and every day? So I'm here to talk to you about the Place of Grace, Catholic Worker House at 919 Hood Street. This year we are in our 29th year of serving food, but most importantly, human dignity each and every Thursday night. In 1986 at Thibodeau, I began teaching a class on homelessness. People thought I was foolish. I cannot tell you how many kind of critical comments I heard. Well, that doesn't belong in an academic calendar. 1986, homelessness was recognized by Time Magazine as #3 problem in the country. Today it's an epidemic. Every street in America knows people that are sleeping there. Every community knows people who don't have enough to eat or a place to live. How important and significant it is. Whatever I do to the least of my brothers and sisters, I do to you, my Lord. That's what we believe. Dorothy Day started the Catholic Worker Movement in 1933 in the midst of the Great Depression, offered houses of hospitality, welcome everybody as if they're our guests. We've been at Place of Grace for 29 years. We have one rule only: treat everybody who walks through the door as their Christ himself. Now, I want to tell you, sometimes Christ had too many drinks. I will tell you, sometimes Christ shows up and could use a bath. Sometimes Christ has 2 small children so hungry that they're crying. What do we do to the least of our brothers and sisters? How is it that we take care of them? How is it that we respond? Dorothy Day had this Catholic Worker House in New York City, and one day she's wiping off tables, and she was famous for wearing secondhand clothes, and she has an apron on, and so she's wiping off tables after people had just eaten. A woman came in and said, "Dorothy, my husband died. Here's my diamond ring. I have no use for it any longer. Listen, Dorothy, I want you to have it." She said, "Are you sure, dear?" She said, "Yes, Dorothy, I want you to have it." And so Dorothy said, "Well, thank you so very much," and took the diamond ring and put it in her pocket, kept wiping off tables. At the end of the night, there was a woman with everything that she had in a cart. And Dorothy Day went up and said, "Dear, can I see your hand, please?" And the woman put out her hand, and Dorothy Day reached in her pocket and took out a diamond and slipped it on the woman's hand. And the woman said, "Oh, it's so beautiful." And Dorothy said, "Do you like it?" And she said, "Yes." Well, he said, "It's yours." And the woman in the streets walked back into the streets, and she's looking at this diamond that's sparkling in her hand, and she pushes her cart back onto the streets. And then the staff came up and said, Dorothy, don't you realize how expensive that ring was? Do you realize if we'd have sold that, how many groceries we could have bought?" And Dorothy Day said, "You mean to tell me that God created diamonds only for the rich?" The radical equality. No human is more human than another human. Everybody is worthy of dignity and respect. Want to get me really angry? Just start talking about those people. I can't tell you how many times people have come to volunteer, and I say, "Well, sit down and have dinner with us." No, it's the food's for those people. Would you please tell me who those people are? Would you want to be, the young Rotarians, those people? What does that do? It extinguishes us. What it does is it creates levels of gaps. If there's a gap between Bill Pritchard and I, the larger the gap is, the more reason I have to oppress Bill. 29 years, I've been eating with some of the same people. A woman comes to the place in a walker. She has one free car ride a week for her social life. And so she comes to the place of grace. In order to qualify, she has to have a job, so we made her our executive secretary. She answers the phone, she welcomes people. She's extraordinary. Whatever that she gets that's in surplus, she brings and she shares it with everyone else in the house. And a gentleman who comes and he's blind from Cuba. And boy, can he eat. I can tell you about a gentleman who comes who has brain cancer. Former farmer in Iowa who gets his treatments every day, but he sleeps at the warming center. Fellow human beings. And once you get to know their story, they can get to know your story, you develop a relationship. I've been teaching at Thibodeau for 42 years. At Christmas time, I have never gotten a Christmas card from one of my colleagues. At the Place of Grace, I get 4 or 5 handwritten Christmas cards. How does that happen? It's all because of relationships, our commitment to each other. So there we were teaching this class on homelessness. We go every year down to Omaha, Nebraska to work at the Catholic Worker House in Omaha. We're right across the street from Creighton University. Rather interesting, students from Creighton would never walk across the street to work at the homeless shelter, but kids from La Crosse would come down and serve. We'd sleep on the floors, serve 300 to 400 people every day at lunch and at supper, at breakfast and at lunch. Most of the men who would come to the streets are people of color, Hispanic, African American. A number of them were veterans. Be amazed in terms of the number of veterans that are homeless. You can imagine coming back from the Vietnam War and how people were treated and how we didn't even talk about PTSD at that time. Where did people find themselves on the streets? And everybody was welcome. And after coming back from one of the classes, after having spent a week down there, during spring break, our students would go to a homeless shelter for spring break, not Daytona Beach. We came back and I said to our students, I said, I'd like to start a Catholic Worker House here in La Crosse in the next 5 years. And one for coach a student like Marissa. Where's Marissa? You would ask this question, and she said to me, "Why do you have to wait 5 years?" I'm thinking to myself, give me time to change my mind. Well, God had different plans. That afternoon, I walked to my office in the Fine Arts Center over to Walgreens, and I stood in front of a house that was where Sister Grace Claire Best News had lived. Sister Grace Claire had been the founder of the nursing program at Thibodeau. She had died 2 months previously. She had fallen, broken her shoulder, and then declined and died. And I was standing in front of Grace's house, and I heard this name. This just came in my head, Place of Grace. So I went to Walgreens, came back, called my friend Joe Cruz at St. Francis Hospital, and I said, "What are you going to do with that house?" Because I know that St. Francis owned it. He said, "What for?" I said, "I think we'll begin a Catholic Worker House." He said, let me check. And I called and find, it's scheduled for demolition. We're going to add to our parking lot. But the name never left. So that summer, I'm teaching a group of people. And I said, I'd like to start a house of hospitality in this community. See, one of the interesting things is I was visiting people in our neighborhoods, and people don't know each other. You have to have places where you can gather to get to know each other. And I would just ask yourself, how well do you know your neighbors? One of the things I'm very concerned about is this: institutions are neighbors. But Thibodeau lives in one of the most needy neighborhoods in the city of La Crosse. That's why we're just so proud of the Boys and Girls Club on our campus, because it's serving children who would not get served otherwise. How is it that institutions are good neighbors? Feels like that. Trinity Lutheran on the north side, it's not just in terms of the people coming to Trinity Lutheran, it's the people who are in your neighborhood. So that's what I was thinking. And I said that to my students. Well, unbeknownst to me, they took up a collection. At the end of the class, there were 50 people in the class, they gave me a bag, a paper bag with $350 in cash in it. I felt like a drug dealer. I think that's my drug dealer. And I go back to my office and I stick in the back of my closet. Wow, $350 in my office. I don't know if that's very safe. Well, then I have another class, and then when the same class, I said to them, I'd like to start this house of hospitality in the neighborhood, and without knowing it, they took up a collection, and they gave me $350. Now I got $700 in a paper bag. I walked over to the terrible business office and said, would you put this in a safe? They said, what's it for? I said, I don't know yet. Why don't you open up a bank account? I said, I don't know what's for. Could you just keep it safe? So they did. They stuck $700 in a safe. Well, talking to my friend Joe Cruz, I said, well, it's time. Got $700. Let's call together a group of people. So we did. We wrote letters and asked people, would you like to meet? Now, here's one of the interesting things. When's a convenient time for us all to meet? Isn't that the same thing in every organization? There are no convenient times. You want people to show up, choose an inconvenient time. So we sat and we invited people to come at 7 o'clock on a Monday morning in the bakery at St. Francis. And here, 11 out of 12 people showed up, and we're kind of sitting there and kind of feeling uncomfortable. And I'm sitting next to my friend Earl Maderi. And I said to Earl, could you sing something for us? He had a marvelous singing voice. He says, what do you think I heard? Jukebox? and he said, no, I know what you're saying. And we sat there and he sang this. The Lord hears the cry of the poor. Blessed be the Lord. And we sang it over and over again. That was in 1996 on September 12th, and we've sung that every Monday morning since. We do not take a Monday morning off unless it's Christmas Day itself. Small group of people. We sing, we read the gospel, and then ask the question, who needs to be served this week? We talk about our guests. We look in terms of our resources. We understand in terms of the people who have hard traveling and ask ourselves, what more could we be doing? Done that now for 29 years. Everything, what happened is that on December 24th, 1996, Steve Eide, a beloved memory, had a house that had been used as a 3/4 way house for people getting out of jail. The grant was up. The house was empty. A woman had left on the 23rd, the last woman living there. The house was available. We went to the house. Sister Marla Lang, who was the head of the FSP at that time, brought 2 poppy seed buns that somebody had given her for Christmas, put it in her pocket. We looked at it. It was the only house on the block that had 2 dining rooms. We said, we'll take it. Sister Marlon brought out 2 little buns, blessed them, shared them, and we began the work of the house, place of grace on December 24th, 1996. People moved in on January 1st. Our first month's rent, $550. No problem. I got $700. January 3rd, Frank Len came with $350 worth of fuel oil. We're open 3 days and we're $200 in the hole. And we began to pray. And we've never looked back. Everything we get, we give away. We have to take no salaries. Whatever we receive, we give in direct care to other people. We pay our taxes. We're a 501(c)(3). We could say we're a nonprofit. And yet Dorothy Day said, when you do the work, live like your neighbors. Our neighbors pay taxes. We benefit from garbage pickup. We benefit from people taking care of our street. We benefit from police and fire protection. We are members of the community. I can remember when a council member came and said, you didn't get a zoning permit. I said, for what? He said, well, you open this house. I said, it's a house and our neighbors come for supper. Do you mean you have to have a permit for your neighbors to come for supper? Well, who's paying for this? I said, those of us who live here. What do you mean, those of us who live here? And I looked at him, I said, you went to Catholic grade school, didn't you? And he said, yeah. I said, what were you taught? Love your neighbor as yourself. I said, I work up a terrible. This is my neighborhood. All I'm doing is I'm paying to live with my neighbors. Oh, you take another house off the tax rolls. No, we're paying our taxes. He was dumbfounded. See, what's really interesting, the church didn't ask us to be there. The government didn't ask us to be there. Jesus asked us to be there. When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was a stranger, did you welcome me? When I was thirsty, did you give me drink? When I was sick, did you comfort me? Whatever you do to the least of my brothers and sisters. And that's what we do. We have a food pantry. We're open from 3 until 5 every Thursday afternoon. People are hungry. Think about this for just a moment. What if you're on fixed income? And you understand when people talk about SNAP, you know how much people get about a month? $37. And it doesn't cover toiletries, doesn't cover hygiene products, doesn't cover shampoo, doesn't cover toilet paper. So just for a moment, imagine, and don't say I can't imagine. When you tell somebody I can't imagine, what you're saying is I don't care. You can't imagine. You can't imagine what it's like not to have toilet paper. You can't imagine what it must be like to have to go up and say, how many rolls can I get? 2 a week. 50 households, 2 a week. We're averaging 100 to 120 rolls of toilet paper a week. How do you know you're poor? When you don't have the essentials. People come in, we have donated clothes. If you don't have money for food, you don't have money for a laundromat. All these things that we can so easily take for granted, we forget that a number of people are just hoping. What's really extraordinary though is that if you don't have money, what's your social life? You're not going out to eat. You're not inviting people over. You're not going to movies. Do you know what's really wonderful in our community? Fireworks, parades, moon tunes, where the community can gather and it doesn't matter who you are welcome. Do you know what's really difficult about poverty? Every day is the same. Well, know what's difficult about being unsheltered? Nobody knows your full name, doesn't know your birthday. You don't celebrate holidays. What we try to do at the Place of Grace when we find out it's somebody's birthday, my wife bakes cupcakes and we sing happy birthday. People say now, you hear this all the time, well, why don't their families take care of them? Do you realize that probably 97% of all of our people are unsheltered grew up in foster care? They don't have families. Some of them don't remember families. And so how is it that you create a community where people feel accepted and given dignity? I'm not here tonight asking for sympathy, not at all. What I'm asking for is compassion. Because you've seen posts online and you've heard other people say, well, those people, they don't belong in Cameron Park. What? You're a citizen and because you don't have money, you can't go to the park? Why do we have to look at those people? If you don't have money and it's cold, where do you go? The public library. Librarians are in the front lines of taking care of people who don't have much. And our librarians on the cross, dignity and respect. Certainly the parameters in terms of what it is you can do. But whatever you do to the least of my brothers and sisters, you do to me. And so that's our work. When people come, they're always kind of surprised. It's just a house. What do you want me to do? Sit down and have a meal, Larry. Well, no, I'm here to serve. I know. Sit down and have a meal. Sit down across the table. Hello, brother. Hello, fellow being. Tell me about yourself. How important and significant it is. It's not that people don't care about people that are unsheltered. People don't know people that are unsheltered. So what's really extraordinary in terms of our generations, I hear this stuff all the time, it just drives me crazy. Oh, in terms of generations. Talk with each other. I'm at Paterno University working with children, other people's children who are 56 years younger than myself. And guess what? They're amazing. I am just so sick and tired of these stereotypes, and you run into them. For those of you who are younger, those of you in Rotary, young, you know, you're after hours, you're extraordinary. I'm just so sick and tired of my generation dusting, going, oh, young people these days, oh, young, have you heard that? I was back there in the 60s, we weren't that hot. Get to know somebody. Get to treat them as if they were the person of Christ. That's what the gospel says. That's our challenge. And our joy. Our joy. It is a privilege to serve and be served. My wife and I have been doing this work together now. And she's a former kindergarten teacher. In the past year, we had 3 different men who were former students coming and asking for groceries for their young families. We are all connected to each other. We all belong to each other. Good work, hard work, noble work, dare I say sacred work. Our work. And what a joy it is to share it with you tonight. I'd be willing to take some questions if you have them. Please.
What's all at Place of Grace? So someone like food, clothes, what else?
Yeah, we have food, clothes, people donate books. Every once in a while, we kind of get knickknacks and things, and Lions Club, or Kiwanis. Lions gives us glasses. You know, so we have glasses, whatever we get, we put out for other people. What's really interesting is that Rotary Lights kind of fills up our pantries until through for February, but now they're getting a little thin, and we'll get a few things in March coming up in terms of Easter. You know, people respond, but then it becomes sparse because the school years end and churches are kind of winding down, and at the same time, summer is the time in which people need food the most because their children are not in school and not getting breakfast and lunches. And then what's really amazing, and you've all experienced this today, I mean, this is not anything earth-shattering, but you choose gas or you choose food. If you got a job you have to get to, but the price of gas, or in terms of how about the number of people that I'm really kind of amazed by this, the people that we have coming on walkers who are on fixed incomes are making choice between food and medication. And so what we try to do is just to provide that kind of dignity. We give everybody 1 bag of groceries a week. Now, what's really amazing, Wafer can only do that once a month. And so we're in our little neighborhood, one bag of groceries a week. And whatever we receive as gift, we give out. But it's pretty much a house with 2 bedrooms. 2 dining rooms, a nice kitchen. Larry's been there. A living room where people kind of sit, and then we have a backyard. We have a big wooden boat in the backyard. Now, what's really interesting, 29 years ago, Hamilton School didn't have a playground. 29 years ago, this was the playground in the neighborhood. Realize that if you're a rental property, you don't have a playground. And so kids from the neighborhood come and play on our boat. We don't have a television or a radio playing. Why? It interferes with conversation. Guess what? We talk to each other. Some of the people I've been eating together dinner for 29 years. What do you call that? Family. Community. There's a level in terms of mutuality. Other questions? Please, Dustin.
What time do you start on Thursdays?
3 to 5, we have the pantry, and then 5 to 6, we have the meal. It's just amazing in terms of the number. We've kind of got it down for you to kind of come through. I want to just kind of give a shout out. Jake Bowie who's owns the Culvers in Alaska and Winona. His staff comes down once a month. It spreads on the street, Culvers at the place of grace. Last Thursday night, chicken, gravy, mashed potato. Dustin, it was so good. You put some of that in your forehead, your tongue would smack your brains out trying to get in. And then coleslaw, but then everybody left with a little bit of custard. What is it's dignity? We're part of the community. And so it's as simple and complicated as all that. Brian?
From a food perspective, some organizations prefer to get monetary donations because they feel they can spend that money in a better way than getting food. What do you guys prefer? You prefer food donations or monetary?
You know, let your own heart decide. Everything we receive is gift. Everything we receive is gifts. And so I don't say, well, we can always use food, we can always use money. But more importantly, your friendship, the support, the opportunity to be here tonight is a great gift for me. To be able to tell other people in the community, I'm advocating and speaking on behalf of people you might not ever meet. Please.
Besides us possibly coming together to give donations, our club really loves to do service. Is there something that you would see our club doing for service besides, I'd love to come in to a meal with everyone, but is there anything in the house that could use help with or?
Well, yeah, thanks for asking. Well, first, we have different Rotary groups who come, bring 5 or 6 people and prepare and serve the meal. And that's always a great gift. So you just sign up. We just have a little calendar and like to come and share a meal. And you get to meet people of our community you never get a chance to meet again. How important and significant that is. Secondly, you know, we have a guy who lives at the house right now. And takes care of kind of the lawn and, you know, general maintenance, but we have a garage that needs painting and, you know, we get the things as we can get to them. So if you like, but just come and be with us and then say, well, listen, I can help with this. Me.
Sure you want to sign up for that?
I'm there. See, here's one of the things, I'm speaking to a lot of people younger than myself. Here it is, Marissa. Here it is. Get involved and stay involved. When you see your name up there for 10 years, that's what you do. Pete Seeger said this, when you're young, travel the world. Susie, you love this. Travel the world, let the world be your university. When you get older, put down your tent stakes and change the world from there. See, what's really interesting, Rotary Lights began the same year at Place Grace. When we first began, in terms of Pat Stevens contacted me, we had 3 food pantries. Our Savior's Lutheran, Salvation Army, and the Place Grace. How many food pantries do you think we have in the area right now? 56. So you recognize in terms of how Rotary Lights has grown is because the need has grown and the community's generosity has grown, and you are leaders in all of that. You should be very proud of your contributions, but you can't just kind of one and done. Get involved, stay involved. Please.
Another question I had is about how many people are at the meal every Wednesday?
We're right now about 40 to 50 people, and then the first and second Wednesday, Thursdays of the month, we provide the meal for the Warming Center. So we try and make meals for 100 on the first and second Wednesdays of the month, November through May.
You serve meals daily?
No, just Thursdays. See, we try not to duplicate. When do you serve your meals? Monday, and then our Savior's Tuesday. I don't know if anybody's doing something Wednesday. Sue Graff with Wynn tries to do once a month on Wednesday. We do Thursdays. Salvation Army is any longer open. They can't because of the need to the general public. They feed the people in-house, but there's not a meal. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are a little sparse, you know, in terms of where people can find a meal. But it's not just about the meal, it's a place to go and a place to belong. It's Cheers, where everybody gets to know your name. I'm also a part owner of Leo Leona's. It's the place of grace with alcohol.
You guys allow animals to come in there, real friendly and stuff there?
No, because you're serving food. People do have at times brought service animals, but our house is small, and because we're serving food, we have to meet the confines of the health department.
Tom, what's one of your more, most interesting people that you've met and they always made an impact on you?
I kind of feel like Garth Brooks. I have friends in low places. Here's something that's funny but painful. My friends from a place of grace would come and look for me on the Viterbo campus, and inevitably somebody would call security. And security say, Tom, here, somebody wants to see it. They mention your name. I mean, I just want to mention this right now. There's certain places in town where if you're poor, you can't go. So that, these barriers. So I want to just talk about one of those guys and just give it his first name, Jimmy. Quite a character. Had a rap sheet. But he'd come to Place of Grace and he always wanted to help. Had hard traveling. When it came to Rotary Lights, he'd always insist on helping me. And we'd go down and we'd pick up the food. Many of you have stood in those cold nights and it's like at 10 o'clock at night, just hoping to get out of there. And we're there, and we pick stuff up and go back, and then we have to unload a truck at 10 o'clock at night and put it in the garage, and we come back the next morning and sort it all out. But Jimmy always wanted to be there. Jimmy developed cancer. One of our medical centers took him in. Jimmy put my name down as next of kin, asked me to be the power of attorney. And then when he was dying, the nurses called me and said, Jimmy would like you here. And I went, and Jimmy gave me the privilege of being with him the last 12 hours of his life. And I miss him. We loved each other. And I could mention other people that I've developed relationships with that we became friends. Hello, fellow human being, and how they enriched my life. So Neil, thank you for asking that question. It says more about your understanding of the dignity of human beings than anything that I've experienced. Thank you. Please.
I have a quick question. What's your best advice? You've read books, you've met these people, you've met with those people, and what's your best advice to stop it before it happens? When it comes to an instance, what's your advice to everybody to give something?
Okay, what's the average age of a homeless person in the country today? 8. Number one cause of homelessness right now is domestic abuse. Treat women and dignity with love and respect. That goes a long way. 2, people need friends. All of us have had hard traveling, have we not? And what got you through? Your theology, your friends. So just think about it as your own. And what's really interesting, what we understand right now, homelessness can happen to anyone. Number of people within the economy right now, we continue on with this war without oil moving through the Strait of Hormuz. Is that going to affect all of us economically? Are there some people could be underwater very quickly because they can't afford their mortgages? So this idea of economic, but you have to have friends who are going to support you. What happens when you get into homelessness is this: oftentimes now you have nothing. So one of the things we do is try to provide friendship support and food for people, and then get a phone number, and so we can kind of help people. We have a little bit of an emergency fund so that if people need help with one of the big things coming right now, April 15th, they can start charging for electrical again. A lot of people in terms of their heating bills, holy smokes, rental properties, they're not gonna be able to afford that. So how do we help, in those kind of situations? So it is really complicated and complex, but there's nothing stronger than friendship. In fact, it's the only way out of homelessness.
I'll second that, because I live in an apartment with probably 100 rooms, and I have 2 people in my apartment. So, yeah, it goes a long way.
It goes a long way, and we need you. That's why this group is so important. We need each other. One of the things I'm on a campaign right now is this. I look at all of you good young people. How do we retain you in the lacrosse community? How would we help you make you feel welcome and engaged so that you stay? I mean, this is I was talking about my friend Rick Kite this morning. He's written the book for third place, as I'm sure you know of him through Rotary. But in terms of social capital, you know, in terms of people in social groups, I mean, a number of groups that we have, the philanthropic nature of our community, we're right up there in terms of counties in the state of Wisconsin. In terms of friendliness, we're in the bottom third. Why? Because a lot of people have lived here for a long period of time. Phil, what's it like coming into this community and trying to become a friend? You know, people have well-established relationships, and so how is it that we open ourselves up to others? And that's what happens when somebody comes to our community for the first time and they haven't been here before. A number of people, just think about for just a moment, number of people come here because they're in group homes. Number of people come here to lacrosse because of medical care, because of helping with addiction services, and then their programs end. Well, then they're in the community. How do we open ourselves up and make them feel welcome? And there's just, you know, how then we connect with other people. So that's what happens at the Place Grace. People find their way to us and say, I never knew about you. Well, they heard from a friend. Here, you can get some groceries here. Here, you can have a good meal. Trying to save the world one dish of custard at a time.
Is there a way you spiritually lift people up there? Like a specific technique for
Feel it's just like being in your presence, and just be like being in all of your presence. It's your basic goodness gets communicated. What's really wonderful at Place Grace? You come through. Do you want coleslaw? No, I don't like coleslaw. See what's really interesting. Oftentimes, when you're poor, when you don't have a lot of choices. So people just you're just in here just to give people choices, autonomy, freedom. It's, you know, communicating their God-given dignity to them without beating them over the head by saying, well, you have to believe in this.
Yeah.
Please.
Have you noticed the difference in how easy or hard it is to build this community, like post-COVID, like coming out of the pandemic, or what's been your sort of?
Great question. I know we closed because we couldn't meet during the pandemic, and then we kind of serve meals from our porch, kind of takeout. But even then, we were masked. Now we're kind of coming back, and at one point we were serving before COVID probably 110 meals but a number of people have moved out or moved away. But people are kind of coming back now and finding us again. But that's a very good question. Just think about it. That was only 6 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy. We kind of move it out of our memory.
Well, I wonder too, like, I think it's sort of like long-term consequences of it, like if it's shifted, like, I don't know, I'm someone and I've known a lot of people that had trouble had to almost like learn how to socialize and build community again. Like we spent so much time isolated that it felt like a muscle that had atrophied, I guess. I mean, overall, and so.
You're absolutely correct. You're very, very insightful. We're not out of the woods yet. We're still coming. We know that in terms of our children, college age students. Why do I keep office hours? Nobody comes to talk to me. Really? You know, but we hunger for that human connection. That's what's really extraordinary. I just want to mention this. Here's the last thing, and I'll just give it to all of you. The word companion comes from two Latin words, kumpanus. Means the people that we share bread with. So you came in tonight, and first thing Marissa said, there's sandwiches over there. Go get something to eat. Isn't it amazing? When we break bread with each other, we are linked to each other. We're the only country in the world that drives around each by ourselves in our car. Don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. I know many of you eat your lunch in front of the computer by yourself. Stop it. Here it is in terms of Rotary After Hours. You are in good company. Company comes from two Latin words, cum panis, which means this. Everybody has something to bring to the table and everybody can expect to be fed. And from what I witnessed here tonight, you are feeding each other with opportunities for service and love and friendship and connection and community. Good work, hard work, no work, your work. This is a place of grace. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Neil.
We'll circle back and we'll end on this question for everyone to talk after this. We'll get through some, just a couple district updates here. So Tricon is happening April 17th and 18th. If you can, please join. You don't have to stay overnight. You can go for a day. This is, you learn a lot more about Rotary, can teach you some leadership stuff. You just learn more about Rotary as an international organization and a local organization too as well. This is for our District 6250 here. And RILA is May 8th, 9th, and 10th. Jason, I know you spoke on it last time. Do you want to mention a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, you need full shirts. They give you one for the whole weekend. It's really interesting. No, like I said, I'm not gonna be there.
Yeah.
Last time meeting the kids. Like I said, I was not over. Very insightful. Eye-opening. Humbling. Fun. I would encourage anybody, I don't know if the sign up is open anymore, to be honest.
No, it's closed.
No, it's not.
Close. I would encourage next year, keep your open. It's a great time. You're either gonna sleep in a bunk or a cabin. Not exactly going to the Marriott, although Joe Rusty went and got his own hotel room last year. That wouldn't surprise me. But it's a good time. Definitely look into it next year. We'll bring back some information. Let you know how it went this year. If I go, I mean, you're kind of big. So wait to find out if we're going.
Our club has, I have two students that have, already, we have two sophomore students, so.
Yep. 2 students and we can do more. So,
He will be going to, yeah.
yeah, so we got 3 total right now. If
Yeah.
they're,
Georgia and Weston Space,
Pedro?
is that
Pedro?
Pedro? Yes, thank you. Yep.
perfect. The International Convention, June 13th through the 17th. Steph has actually went to one of these, so she would highly recommend it. What a great way to go meet people and other fellow Rotarians around the world. World's largest polio walk. This will be happening next year, or I should say this year here, but in October during Amy's year. Steph is actually going to be part of that planning committee, so we're all going to gather as a group. It's still in the works, but we're going to do a largest walk for polio. So all around the world, everyone's going to walk the polio. And public image committee public image updates, they did a license plate too, so you can get that. You can submit updates to the dispatch. Is everyone receiving the district dispatch? There's a lot of useful information on that, so if you see it, don't be afraid to dive in and look at that. There's a lot of good information out there about Rotary in general. And then membership retention is important. They touched on this at pets too, but just keeping members in the club and having them stick around. As you can see, our club's doing a very good job at it. You have 15 years, several 15 years, a lot of 12 years, a few 10 years. So keep up the good work, guys. Then foundation, polio donation match. So anything that we donate will get matched by the Wisconsin Rapids Rotary Club. So anything raised at our Pints for Polio will get matched up to $500. So we can double that money here. And then our next meeting here is back here on April 14th. Rotary Lights is distributing all their checks. Typically this is Pat distributing this, and we're gonna miss him this year for this. So Scott will be here distributing some checks to local organizations. And then the meeting after that is a club assembly meeting. So this is just gonna be more about Rotary after hours. We're gonna touch on committees, a little history, our club financials, all that stuff. We'll touch on everything. Maybe dive a little bit into my Rotary and the importance of creating your membership and signing in on that too as well. So it's just a little bit about the club there. And then with Tom coming in place of grace, I thought this was very fitting. Give your hands to serve and your hearts to love. So I felt this was very fitting for what Tom was talking about tonight. And this is what Rotarians do. Like we say, service above self. We do it with a heart full. At this point, we can do the 5-way test. I'll turn it back to that slide if you want to hang back around after this to talk. All right, I'll let you guys out because I think it's about 7 o'clock.
It is.
All right, we'll do the 5-way test. Is it the truth?
Is it fair law? Sir, will build better friendships, will be beneficial to all concerned.
And is it fun?
Before you do that.
Yeah.
Let's get a kudos.
Thank you,
Talked about this
Jason.
earlier. Everybody's favorite, news anchor, Thibodeau. He just had his, Come Here Brother documentary. That was a selection for best documentary.
For a film festival. In India. They're very discerning in India.
Something, something you thought of, I don't know where you found the time, but you're still married. Congratulations.
Congrats. Thank you, guys. There.
Hasn't been actually awarded. Hasn't been awarded.
Thank you, Megan.
They're expecting it, but it hasn't been officially awarded.
Okay, well, then.
No. Well, yeah, they certainly can. The people that do it. Okay, so when you say you're gonna do it, you're also committing to have. That's the expectation. Okay, now Taipei, for example, their Taipei alone is sending 14,000 of their members to an international. Okay, years ago, it was in South New Zealand, they struggled to get the rest of You're always considering your speech.
It was online, so then it was probably happening.
So I'm not surprised that does is pushes triggers on in a good way. Yeah. That's important. I think internet, man, I don't know. Yeah, I've never been to I've been to 7 international conferences and never attended one international. Because I love the opportunity to explain. And so when I go to Americans, when it's like, You know, and we're two mountains in town. So you go. Banner comes on, I ball. But if I go in and take it, I feel irritated. But no, back on moving the house, I have done it again. One of the things that turned me, working with Bishop Kennedy, is someone who thought I was living. One was Dean Nicholas, slapping in the face. And one of the very thing that was very black. Number one. And number two, Sydney, Australia. First time I've been to one, I went, it's a little sick in my life. I couldn't afford it. One thing the state from the going, it made the thing, and I found a way to get the rest of the way. And so that's not have the resources. That's what most years, everything went over this little bit, and then started a little bit. I think that might be just one thing that the person would say, I don't know, I want to give, but well, really, I mean, when I was asked to be the president of the club, I said no until I found out. I'm there again. I said no. He said, or they get started the press book president. They trained up before you. So who you remember would be when you're elected district governor elect, you go. But they go in June and you take over in July. Because it's your president who's on the stage. Yeah, I really think that we're maybe 25,000 or maybe kind of thing. And I understand we want to do with the community and we do. That does amazing. I'm also reminded the first year when we in this bubble, we kidnapped the first city year. A group of us with a good big call when you're in your we're gonna take you to think you're gonna have a good time. Every player at the Rangers, they have a sleeping bag, and he's been know where you were. Keith Lease got done that way, Matt Foster got done that way. They all got and they had a that's where we I didn't have to brought her to Iowa. She had a fall and that kind of turned the plane where people got getting up. I would turn, what I would do pilot stuff, we used to have a pretty active tradition that was military and they would do the work for the city. They would find the people and they'd say, I got 8 kids that want to go. I would have. Yeah, I would turn your RYE. I would turn the chain group and have them responsible for finding the check. And Nancy's already, your mother's already given her next breath in the short-term exchange. This comes back to January till July 1st. I move on to a national. I'm responsible. I'm that is going through coming from any country that touches the Mediterranean Sea through Cape Town, South Africa. So that's why I'm a regional international. Yep, and I was going there. So anyone that's going to Spain, Portugal, France, Greece, Morocco, Turkey, Croatia, all the way to South Africa. So that's why I'm now this year I'm traveling to France at the EMA conference. I just got back from the conference. So that's what I'm trying to help. Like for example, I found a there are There are 91 Rotary districts in Africa. You know how many of them are certified to send us a unit? 9. I mean, you know how many we get? None. The one-way door. Okay, because we would not send at this time, our sons and daughters. You got it.
Yeah.
So pick one. Right? And that has been closed now for our part of the world, it's closed for 15 years. And I think that's not that it's exactly the best for us.
Yeah.
So that's my next. So I can play down.
I said, yeah, yeah. That should be just the last time.
We asked them for 24 hours. It's like the homeless, it's a Rotary Post family chain. It's in the act.
You're talking about meeting time, so if you want to be on the service.
Yeah. But there's a page under George's stuff, that one of George's stuff, and one of them, there's a say, the post family chain, they click it, it's very simple. And it's sent to the State Department, so they literally have the address window on.
We can introduce you to
It's harder to get. I also like tell them. I don't ever want you to hesitate to just reach out, right? And reach out, I can do it, I will. And there's a very sensitive thing. She said, and then we're the tutor, just let me know. I'm happy to do it. It's not how I can, you know, in today's world, I just, I feel like I need to, honestly, Thibodeau does for me, it's a recharge. Worn down. Not under any, don't get worn down, you know, you can always still come here, if we're lucky enough Yes. I help.
Maybe it's not including the video project. I've been there one.
More than that, I've been there for 15 years. So when you come to me, there's, you know, John McKee, the bridge, used to teach the students in the studies for a long time. And so I was thinking about that, because he was just the anniversary of the passing. So when I see Thomas, you know, I used to be the deacon at St. Thomas Ford Church with him, okay, at the south side. That was a long time ago. And so we're still. That makes a great offer.
Oh, it's so. Congratulations.
Been busy.
That's awesome. You gotta refresh. Right.